How's it going, guys? It's Ricky with TechButt Solutions. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about how to identify the support and resistance level when analyzing a stock. So I'm going to be talking about 4 different reasons on why this is so important. What is support and resistance, how to do it, planning and executing. So we want to talk about, in a sense, the whole thought process. I've actually made a video elaborating a little bit more on this specific topic, but now that we have new members, you guys came up with specific questions, and I'm actually going to be going down the list and actually talking about them and hoping that not only for you guys does this help you guys out, but as well for those that are watching that have a little bit more trouble identifying where the support and resistance is, or get a better breakdown on how to actually properly do this. So I'm going to be talking about first, why it's important. Well, the reason identifying a support and resistance level is important is when you're investing in a stock, you're investing in efforts for it to appreciate in value. So what that means is you're buying low and trying to sell high. So how is it that you buy low, right? So when it comes to actually trading, you want to make sure that you perform a proper technical analysis, and in doing that, you want to make sure that you identify the proper support and resistance level. So I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you guys on how I was able to do this with NAK, and kind of going down the list on why it's important, how to do it, and then planning and executing, and what those 2 things mean. So I hope you guys enjoy, and if you guys did, don't forget to share this video and give it a thumbs up to those that you think can actually benefit from the content that's being expressed within this video. And if there's anything else that I can do for you guys, again, the link is provided for you down below. Feel free to join. We're a little bit over 20,000 members now worldwide with our group of TechButt Solutions, and the thing that we do best is we provide a free supportive environment for those that are getting into trading penny stocks, as well as those that are already well off when it comes to the all aspects of investing. So it's pretty much just an exposure or networking group. Thank you guys again, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, guys, so the first thing that we're going to go over is actually why identifying the proper support and resistance level is important. So when actually going into a specific stock, you want to make sure, again, that it appreciates in value, and the best way to do that is if you know that where you're buying is a low point and where you're selling is a high point. And I'm going to be talking about how I do this personally every single day when it comes to day trading, and I hope to explain my whole thought process and instill some type of just understanding for you guys that are getting started or just want someone else's point of view. So initially, when analyzing NAK, if we go a little bit further back, I'm going to go on a 3-day analysis or a 3-day chart. Let's go on a 5-day analysis. So you can see that it hit a resistance at 183. What that necessarily means is that it peaked out at 183, right? It went up, hit 183, and then saw a downward trend, meaning that that's, ideally, if it's within that level of support and resistance, 183 is the resistance. Now, it continuously saw a downward trend for the past 3 days and really flatlined today at that $1.60 support. And what that means is that it saw a downward trend and it didn't break below $1.60. So what does that mean? If it was consistently seeing a downward trend day after day for the past 3 days, as of today, today being Thursday, it flatlined at $1.60, meaning that it didn't break below 160. Now approaching tomorrow, Friday, what is it that we expect for NAK to play out? Well, when it comes to performing your technical analysis that you should be doing every single time you're deciding to invest in a stock is identify the low points and the high points. That's necessarily what it means. So I'm going to get a little bit closer so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So it had a support at 160, meaning that it held above 160, and it had a resistance at about 165, meaning that it really struggled to break above 165, and when it did, it didn't hold for very long. It came back down and ended up closing even after market hours at $1.65. Now in doing that, it bounced at this 160, so the reason that this is so important to identify is because if you identify 160 as the support, you can say, okay, well, I'm going to wait for it to bounce above $1.60 and then buy in around 161, 162, and then cut my losses anything below $1.60. Why would you cut losses anything below 160? Well, if you identify $1.60 as a support, if it breaks below that support, just know that old supports become new resistance levels, meaning that if it breaks below 160, it's going to struggle to go above this $1.60 resistance as it's starting to come back up, right? And in doing that, now that it's still holding above $1.60, the resistance right now is at 165. So to put it in the most simple terms as I can, if I know that the support is 160, that the resistance is 165, I know that something or near close to 160 is a good buy, and something close to 165 is a good sell within, today, within how the volume is playing out and how everything is according to NAK as of right now. Now, does that mean that, weeks down the road that, 160 is still going to be a solid and valuable support? Well, no, really depends on how it's playing out. And, although that might confuse some of you, what I really want you guys to focus on is understanding the support and resistance within that specific time frame of where you're trading. Now, as you guys saw, it was continuously seeing a downward trend. It previously had a support at about $1.70, and it had a resistance at $1.75. So there's this, level of trading every about 5 cents, and in doing that, once it broke below the support of 170, it initially became a new resistance level, right? Broke the support, becomes a new resistance, meaning that once it broke below, it struggled to hold above 170 and then continued to see a downward trend. It bounced really close to this 160 support. It bounced at about 161 and hit a resistance at about 167. So now there's this bounce or support and resistance from about 160 to 167. So when going into choosing to buy, NAK, where would you like this to be? Well, based on how it was playing out this on Wednesday, I would say anything closer to this 160, 161 would be a more, proper buy. And anything closer to this, 167 would be a place to sell. There's different indicators that you can use, as I use, RSI indicators and SMA indicators to identify upward or downward momentum, or if the stock is being oversold or overbought. But when it comes to simple terms of where to get in and where to get out, you have to understand how important it is to properly set up a plan and properly identify the support and resistance. Something that has been really told about my style of trading is that I'm pretty conservative with how I trade, meaning that I pretty much cut my losses right below support to minimize my loss. And that's just my style of trading. In no way does that mean does this have to be the type of trader that you are, but it's something that's helped me minimize my loss and really helped me lock in consistent profit. So as long as my profits stay more consistent and are larger than my losses, my account overall in the long run is going to stay in the green. And that's something that we like to promote within our community of not always trying to go for the largest profits and hoping for the best, but making sure that you lock in profits consistently and that you worry less about getting in at the best price, but making sure that you're getting in at when you're seeing upward momentum, and making sure that you're using different indicators to identify that the support that you're going to jump into is a valid support, that you wait for the bounce. So instead of identifying $1.60 when NAK dropped as a valid support, what you could properly do is that, okay, well, I know the support is at 160. I'm going to make sure that it holds above 160 and that it bounces up, that it sees an upward trend, and I'm going to buy in at 162, whatever it is that you want to wait. If you want to wait for one green candlestick, two green candlesticks to identify that it's seen an upward trend, and then make the decision to jump on in. Set up a plan, and this is kind of going into the whole planning portion. Well, once you identify the support, the resistance, you have to plan out your trade. So if I understand that the support is at $1.60, that the resistance is at $1.65, what's my plan? Well, just like I said, again, it's very repetitive and something that you're going to have to be very consistent with and very disciplined with is, I identify 160 as a support, so I'm going to get in at the bounce at 160. I can simply buy in at 161, and I know that 165 is the resistance, so I'm going to lock in my profits, every time that it hits, 165 or whatever it is, right? So wherever the resistance is. And in doing that, I know where I'm buying, I know where I'm selling, and I know where I'm going to cut my losses again if it breaks below 160, so I can set my stop loss at 1.59, and in doing that I minimize my loss and promote my growth. So my potential for profit in trading NAK, if I bought in at 161 and sell at 165, again, nothing huge, but it's at 2.57%, believe it or not. What's my potential for loss? Well, if I bought in at 161 and I cut my losses, if it breaks below 160, my potential for loss is 0.73. So in doing that, my potential for profit is again greater than my potential for loss. And that type of investment is worth it for me. I understand why I'm buying at 160. I labeled that as a solid support, and if it bounces, as a valuable support or valid support, and 165 is a valid resistance, and I'm going to sell there because I'm going to stick to my plan. And that's kind of going into the last portion of this. It's executing. Understanding that once you set up your plan on where you plan to buy, where you plan to sell, and where you plan to cut your losses, that you stick to it. Don't break your rules. Stay consistent in the long run. Even with this $1,000 challenge we started within our group, locking in 2.34% profit every single day, 3 times a week, and 4 times a month and 12 times a year from $1,000, locking in that consistent profit of 2.34 will grow your account from $1,000 to $20,000 with the power of compounded interest. For those that aren't aware of that, go ahead and watch our penny stock day trading challenge, and I elaborate a little bit more on that, and I talk about the importance on people don't realize how important it is to lock in profits, to stay consistent, and to not get greedy. That's one of the biggest things. So go ahead and get the hang of this. Perform technical analysis on certain stocks within your watch list, set up plans, and see the following day. Again, you can do simulation trading, you can do paper trading, which is no real monetary risk, and see if they play out according to what you planned on, the support, the resistance, and see how much money you would have made or would have lost if you would have cut losses. But I can promise you that in the long run, if you set up this plan of success of minimizing loss and locking in profits consistently, you will see a greater, rate of success when it comes to actually, trading. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I talked about, why identifying support and resistance is important, how to do it, the importance of planning, and how to, or the importance of actually executing accordingly. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't done so already, we do have, again, the TechButt Solutions Facebook platform. The link is provided for you down below. Once you guys get accepted, we do have all the links posted on our top pinned post. You simply click see more, and all the links are provided for you right here, so you guys can join the series of group chats that we have available, so you guys can actually network with these thousands of members. Just make sure that you agree to the terms and conditions. And now in searching any file or any message, make sure you use the search bar that can help you filter out certain messages to get you the proper file that you are looking for. And if you guys haven't done so already, we just broke a little bit over 18,000 subscribers, so we can't thank you guys enough for the support. If you guys can like and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it, but most importantly, we want to make sure that we continue producing content that you guys enjoy. So if you guys can share it with those that you think can truly benefit from this, go ahead and do that. But also, if you guys have any questions or suggestions for videos, please direct message me within the TechButt Solutions group chat, and give me any video ideas that you think that I can make that can benefit you yourself, or a series of other members within our group. So like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.